portrays a creature resembling Pan with the horns of a ram or deer, the arms and body of a man, and the legs and feet of a goat or dragon. The figure stands upon a cubic stone, to a ring in the front of which are chained two satyrs. For a scepter this so-called demon carries a lighted torch or kindle. The entire figure is symbolic of the magic powers of the astral light, or universal mirror, in which the divine forces are reflected in an inverted, or infernal, state. The demon is winged like a bar, showing that it pertains to the nocturnal, or shadow inferior sphere. The animal natures of man, in the form of a male and a female elemental, are chained to its footstool. The torch is the false light which guides unillumined souls to their own undoing. In the pseudo-Egyptian tarot appears Typhon, a winged creature composed of a hog, a man, a bat, a crocodile, and a hippopotamus, standing in the midst of its own destructiveness and holding aloft the firebrand of the incendiary. Typhon is created by man's own misdeeds, which, turning upon their maker, destroyed him. The 16th numbered major trump is called La Fiducial, the fire of heaven, and portrays a tower the battlements of which, in the form of a crown, are being destroyed by a bolt of lightning issuing from the sun. The crown, being considerably smaller than the tower which it surmounts, possibly indicates that its destruction resulted from its insufficiency. The lightning bolt sometimes takes the form of the zodiacal sign of Scorpio, and the tower may be considered a phallic emblem. Two figures are falling from the tower, one in front and the other behind. This tarot card is popularly associated with the traditional fall of man. The divine nature of humanity is depicted as a tower. When his crown is destroyed, man falls into the lower world and takes upon himself the illusion of materiality. Here also is a key to the mystery of sex. The tower is supposedly filled with gold coins which, showering out in great numbers from the rent made by the lightning bolt, suggesting potential powers. In the pseudo-Egyptian tarot the tower is a pyramid, its apex shattered by a lightning bolt. Here is a reference to the missing capstone of the universal house. In support of Levi's contention that this card is connected with the Hebrew letter Ayin, the failing figure in the foreground is similar in general appearance to the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. The 17th numbered major trump is called Les Étoiles, the stars, and portrays a young girl kneeling with one foot in water and the other on end, her body somewhat suggesting the swastika. She has two urns, the contents of which she pours upon the land and sea. Above the girl's head are 8 stars, one of which is exceptionally large and bright. Count de Gibelin considers the great star to be Sothis or Sirius. The other 7 are the sacred planets of the ancients. He believes the female figure to be Isis in the act of causing the inundations of the Nile which accompanied the rising of the dog star. The unclothed figure of Isis may well signify that nature does not receive her garment of verdure until the rising of the Nile waters releases the germinal life of plants and flowers. The bush and bird or butterfly signify the growth and resurrection which accompany the rising of the waters. In the pseudo-Egyptian tarot the great star contains a diamond composed of a black and white triangle, and the flowering bush is a tall plant with a trifoliate head upon which a butterfly alights. Here Isis is in the form of an upright triangle and the vases have become shallow cups. The elements of water and earth under her feet represent the opposites of nature sharing impartially in the divine abundance. 2 Inserets. Early Portuguese cards. From Chatto's Origin and History of Playing Cards. In writing of the deck from which the 4 Cavaliers jacks here reproduced were taken, William Andrew Chatto notes some of the specimens of Portuguese cards given in the Jeu de Cartes. Tarots et de cartes numériques have very much the appearance of having been originally suggested by, if not copied from, an Oriental type. More especially in the suits of denari and bastoni, money and clubs. In those cards the circular figure, generally understood as representing denari, or money, is certainly much more like the chakra, or quoit of Vishnu, as seen in Indostanic drawings, than a piece of coin. While on the top of the club is a diamond proper, which is another of the attributes of the same deity. Also worthy of note are the Rosicrucian and Masonic emblems appearing on various medieval decks. As the secrets of these organizations were often concealed in cryptic engravings, It is very probable that the enigmatic diagrams upon various decks of cards were used both to conceal and to perpetuate the political and philosophical arcana of these orders. The frontispiece of Mr. Chatto's books shows a knave of hearts bearing a shield emblazoned with a crown Rosicrucian rose. A card from the Mantegna pack. From Taylor's The History of Playing Cards. Among the more curious examples of playing cards are those of the Mantegna deck. In 1820, a perfect deck of 50 cards brought the then amazing price of £80. The 50 subjects composing the Mantegna deck, each of which is represented by an appropriate figure, are 1A beggar, 2A page, 3A goldsmith, 4A merchant, 5A gentleman, 6A knight, 7 the doge, 8A king, 9 an emperor, 10 the pope, 11 Calliope, 12 Urania, 13 Terpsichore, 14 Erato, 15 Polyhymnia, 16 Theoia, 17 Melpomene, 18 Euterpe, 19 Clio, 20 Apollo, 21 Grammar, 22 Logic, 23 Rhetoric, 24 Geometry, 25 Arithmetic, 26 Music, 27 Poetry, 28 Philosophy, 29 Astrology, 30 Theology, 31 Astronomy, 32 Chronology, 33 Cosmogony, 34 Temperance, 35 Prudence, 36 Fortitude, 37 Justice, 38 Charity, 39 Fortitude, 40 Faith, 41 the Moon, 42 Mercury, 43 Venus, 45 the Sun, 45 Mars, 46 Jupiter, 47 Saturn, 48 the eighth sphere, 49 the primum mobile, 50 the first cause. The Kabbalistic significance of these cards is apparent, and it is possible that they have a direct analogy to the 50 gates of light referred to in Kabbalistic writings. Continued. The 18th numbered major trump is called La Lune, the moon, and portrays Luna rising between two towers, one light and the other dark. A dog and a wolf are baying at the rising moon, and in the foreground is a pool of water from which emerges a crawfish. Between the towers a path winds, vanishing in the extreme background. Coverted sees in this card another reference to the rising of the Nile and states on the authority of Pausanias that the Egyptians believed the inundations of the Nile to result from the tears of the moon goddess which, falling into the river, swelled its flow. These tears are seen dropping from the lunar face. Coverted also relates the towers to the pillars of Hercules, beyond which, according to the Egyptians, the luminaries never passed. He notes also that the Egyptians represented the tropics as dogs who as faithful doorkeepers prevented the sun and moon from penetrating too near the poles. The crab or crawfish signifies the retrograde motion of the moon. This card also refers to the path of wisdom. Man in his quest of reality emerges from the pool of illusion. After mastering the guardians of the gates of wisdom he passes between the fortresses of science and theology and follows the winding path leading to spiritual liberation. His way is faintly lighted by human reason, the moon, which is but a reflection of divine wisdom. In the pseudo-Egyptian tarot the towers are pyramids, the dogs are black and white respectively, and the moon is partly obscured by clouds. The entire scene suggests the dreary and desolate place in which the mystery dramas of the lesser rites were enacted. The 19th numbered major trump is called La Soleil, the sun, and portrays two children, probably Gemini, the twins, standing together in a garden surrounded by a magic ring of flowers. One of these children should be shown as male and the other female. Behind them is a brick wall apparently enclosing the garden. Above the wall the sun is rising, its rays alternately straight and curved. 13 teardrops are falling from the solar face. Levi, seeing in the two children faith and reason, which must coexist as long as the temporal universe endures, writes human equilibrium requires 2 feet, the worlds gravitate by means of 2 forces, generation needs 2 sexes. Such is the meaning of the Arcanum of Solomon, represented by the 2 pillars of the temple, Jachin and Boaz. See Transcendental Magic. the sun of truth is shining into the garden of the world over which these two children